Good. Good to meet you. Yeah, see y'all on that. Take care.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Wow, what a fantastic group. Thank you all so much for joining us in Gilbert today. This is my first time in Gilbert. I am so excited to be here. It's such a beautiful place, and I'm so excited that you all took the time out on a Saturday to come join us and celebrate the Buffalo River. But also, it's clearing up a little bit. Hopefully no cars get stuck in the mud. I think we're going to be good. So my name is Joshua Youngblood. I'm with Special Collections at the University of Arkansas Libraries, and I'm part of the group that we call Digital Buffalo that's helping put on this event today. And so I have a couple of introductory remarks to give, and then I'll get out of the way and get to the music, the stuff you all actually want to hear. But before I get going, I do want to say a couple of big thank yous. So thank you to Mayor Chip Johnson, who is here, Mayor of Gilbert. The entire city of Gilbert for making us so welcome, and a big special thank you to Jeannie Moore over there, who's been giving me water and got us all set up today and is doing all this work to make this event possible. I'd like to acknowledge Professor Bob Cochran, who it was actually his idea to have this musical event here in Gilbert. So thank you, Professor Cochran, for making that possible. I mentioned earlier that this is part of Digital Buffalo, which is actually a year-long series of events, and I have remarks about that. And this event today is Rhythm of the River, which is actually, I think it's our fourth one of what's going to end up being 9 or 10. We have a couple more events that are Digital Buffalo. And it's a year-long series that's made possible by the University of Arkansas Chancellor's Innovation Grant. So we're able to have some funding from the university to document the Buffalo River, but document the river more than what we've just seen, in pictures, or more than just what the National Park Service story is. How the story is actually complex and evolving and ever-changing. So it's a great pleasure for us to be, of course, Gilbert, which is the heart of Buffalo River country, to have this musical event. And so we're looking at issues from archaeology and history, but we're also looking at culture, and we're looking at the environment and how the Buffalo River country and the community and the cultures are changing still. We have a website, digitalbuffalo.uark.edu. We're going to record this concert today, and it's going to go on that website along with lots of other digital content. We have links to databases. We're doing digitization at Special Collections. We're working with campus partners across the University of Arkansas, as well as with communities in the region to try to tell a more complete story, and importantly, document all of this great creative work and historic work and scholarship for future generations to look at. And so this recording will go up there along with other recordings of speeches and talks that will be going through the fall. If you're free next weekend, we have our next event will actually be at Crystal Bridges. That's going to be an exploration of Thomas Hart Benton, great lover and supporter of the Buffalo River. And that event starts at 11. It's actually 3 different events. There'll be a gallery talk, and there'll be scholars there. There'll be a film, a first ever screening of a film of Thomas Hart Benton at the Buffalo River that he helped make, which will also go on our website as digital content for anyone to look at. So we have lots of events coming up. We have another that's going to be coming up in October that's focused just on the environment and environmental change in the region. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining in these events with us, sharing and helping grow the culture and memory and legacy of the Buffalo River, which is right here. So while you're in beautiful Gilbert, I do want to highlight a couple other things you could do. Maybe you're from around here, or maybe you drove all the way out here like me from Fayetteville or points beyond. If you haven't seen the Buffalo River Art Gallery, that's right up the road here. Beautiful place. They'd love to see you after our event to go over there and check it out. And of course, the famous general store here in Gilbert. I brought some fishing equipment with me. I don't know if that's going to happen today. A little rainy for that, but I do look forward to exploring the area myself when we're done. So the way today's going to work, we have 2 amazing musical acts, and I'm sure that you are familiar with both of these acts. We're going to start off with Roy and Aviva Pilgrim, members of the Ozark Highballers. They may or may not have some accompaniment as they get going. But I'd like to introduce Roy and Aviva. And I'm also going to give a little bit of an introduction for Still on the Hill, who's going to be coming after that. And they'll have a nice little handoff of musical styles in the middle. But if you aren't familiar with Roy and Aviva, I've been in Arkansas for 10 years. I think a lot of that has been taken up with being a fan of their work, actually. I've gotten to know them pretty well. I've gotten to help them do research in the archives to produce their music, and then just be a fan and watch all the great stuff they do. They're musicians, they're farmers, they're homesteaders, they're artists. They're experts on just about anything that you would think that's related to traditional living in the Ozarks. Really amazing people. And they're also fantastic musicians, which you'll hear. And their band, the Ozark Highballers, and to quote their website, reflects the spirit and drive of the rural Ozark string bands of the 1920s and 30s. So I'm really looking forward to that. Roy Pilgrim is a Fayetteville native, began playing music with his neighbors at the age of 8. An avid student of early American fiddle music, he's also a horse logger. How many of you can say that? He and Aviva live and garden on their farm just south of Fayetteville. He has recently recorded 10 segments of Fine Fiddlers of the Ozarks, broadcast on Ozark Highlands Radio, and focuses on the popular and less-known musicians and fiddle tunes from the Ozark Mountains. And Aviva was born in Washington State, lived there for several years, and in Virginia before moving to Arkansas in 2014. She plays guitar, cello, sings, sometimes fiddles in the band, and is also a printmaker, a gardener, and a builder of early 1900s style parlor guitars. And if you want a special treat, I recommend going to preservationguitar.com to see her amazing work. So let's hear it for Roy and Aviva.
Thanks, everybody. Joshua, thanks for such a nice introduction, man. I really appreciate that. That was really flattering. Okay, we're going to start off with a tune called Knocking at Your Door, and this was from I can't think of the guy's name, an old fiddler, Let me tighten up my bow a little bit, that'll help. Okay, now we're ready. Thank you so much. That came from a fiddler named Gene Goforth. That's the guy's name. And there's a story about him that I really like. He was from Eminence, Missouri, but he was down in Harrison one time at the Fiddlers Convention, And I guess there's another guy there that had come to find that there were some sort of distant relatives or something like that. And he went up to Gene and he said, yeah, I think we're some kind of kin, you know. And Gene sort of looked at him. He said, you like to drink liquor? The man said, no, I don't. He's like, you like to fight and play fiddle at square dances? The guy said, well, not really. And kind of went on like this, gambling, drinking, smoking, all this kind of stuff. And finally said, no, I don't think we're related. He was kind of a hard-living kind of guy. Okay, what are we going to do next?
We're going to do a kind of sweet old courting song called Flower from the Fields of Alabama. And this is one that we learned from an old 78. It was a popular song in the 1920s and 30s. One fine evening long ago, when the sun was sinking low down in Alabama 'neath the sunny sky, it was in the month of June when the roses were in bloom. By the roadside they would greet you passing by. She's a flower from the fields of Alabama. Take her for she loves you, this I know. Health and love where you go. She's a blessing to behold. She's a flower from the fields of Alabama. Was a blessing to consent on the journey as I went to the mother of the girl I longed to wed. As I drew near the place, tears run down her old sweet face when I asked her for her daughter, and she said, she's a flower from the fields of Alabama. Take her for she loves you, this I know. Health and love where you go. She's a blessing to behold. She's a flower from the fields of Alabama. Sitting by my cabin door, thinking of the days of yore, with my dear old wife here sitting by my side. But she's just as dear to me, see in her eyes what love I see, as she was the day I asked her to be my bride. She's a flower from the fields of Alabama. Take her for she loves you, this I know. Health and love where you go. She's a blessing to behold. She's a flower from the fields of Alabama. Let's do tie hackers. Okay.
All right. This next tune doesn't really have a title per se. We just call it Tie Hackers Tune because it was a common tune in the tie hackers camps, you know, the folks that live out in the woods and hew railroad ties with broad axes and sell the hand-hewn railroad ties to the railroad. And this was one that was common in the tie hackers camps. We'll see if we can do it.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'll do it solo. You need to take the
Or I
baby
could
for a
put her
second?
on my knee, maybe.
Well, either way, whatever works. Thanks for bearing with us. We're just
Yeah.
experimenting how this all works, you know.
Let's try this.
When the baby came, we more or less tried to retire from playing music, and and we've gotten persuaded into a few, and
Okay, maybe you'll do a solo.
yeah. Okay, well, I'll do this one solo. Hey, Kelly, can I play your banjo? All right, I'll do it. Since we're going spontaneous, we might as well really try. Shake it up. We'll show that set list who's boss. Tell you what, I'll sit in this one because it's got a mic. That's what I'll do.
I'll take this opportunity to point out the love of the CDs over here too, in case you missed these coming in. We have Still on the Hill albums over here as well as Ozark Highballers. So.
That's right. You can take us home without the smell. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, this tune is called Horses on the Bridge, and this came from a really great fiddler and banjo player in our neck of the woods named Jim Means. He played the fiddle and the banjo and told lots of good stories and stuff, and he lived around Hinesville, Mayfield, or around that, Hinesville area in Washington County, Madison County borderline there. So anyways, this one's called Horses on the Bridge. All right. What's next, Aviva?
I don't know. Do you want to sing one?
Yeah.
Should we do Kenny Wagner or?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay.
Tell them.
Oh.
This song's called Kenny Wagner's Surrender, and this is the more or less true story of a guy named Kenny Wagner, I think born in 1903, and he was your kind of all-around bad man, you know, bootlegger, fighting with the law, that kind of stuff. And he was a really gifted escape artist. You know, they just couldn't keep him in jail. And he made his way west across the country, and he finally got to Texarkana, which at the time was way out west. Yeah. And he was arrested and put in jail by the first ever female sheriff in Arkansas named Lily Barber. Yeah. So, anyways, here we go. Kenny Wagner's Surrender. Sure you heard my story in the Kenny Wagner song, how down in Mississippi I took the road that's wrong. It was down in Mississippi where I murdered my first man, when the sheriff there at Leakesville for justice took his stand. Mississippi for the state of Tennessee. Two men went down before me and I took my liberty. I wandered through the country and I never did find rest, till I got to Texarkana, way out in the west. Started drinking, and again I pulled my gun, and in one single moment my deadly work was done. The sheriff was a woman and she got the drop on me. I gave up and surrendered and I lost my liberty. Oh boy! Mississippi, and I soon shall know my state. I'm waiting for my trial, but I do not dread my fate. For still the sun is shining and the sky is blue and fair. My heart it is not pining, for I do not fear the chair. Pleasures, I faced a many a man, till I got to Texarkana and a woman called my hand. Young men, take warning, oh heed my last advice. If you start the game in life wrong, you soon shall pay the price. One more time. So we learned that one off of the special collections that Joshua Youngblood is in charge of, and that is a wonderful collection of old time Arkansas music, and we've really enjoyed mining that collection over the years, and just found a lot of really good music in there, and so I encourage anybody, if you're in the mood for some real deal, you know, Ozark traditional music, that's a great place. Is the Mary Parlor collection at the University of Arkansas. And this next one we're about to play, we also learned off of there. And that's from, this is, what's this tune called?
Are we playing Woody's horn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to play a tune called Woody's Hornpipe. It takes two of us to. If you see our baby anywhere, make sure she's.
Yeah, she's over
Thank
in
you,
the kitchen.
thank you, Robin, for taking Kim for. Yeah, it takes a village.
Yeah.
So have a good time.
Woody's hornpipe.
Yeah, Woody's Hornpipe, and this was played by a really wonderful fiddler named James Madison Walden, called Skeeter Walden, and he was a real 19th century fiddler. I like to think that his fiddling was really kind of probably pretty representative of what fiddling sounded like in the middle of the 1800s. So this is one that he played, and I don't think you'll hear it really much anywhere else outside of the Ozarks, probably. You know, somebody will surely from Kentucky will prove me wrong, but I think that. So that's a tune we love to play at square dances. That's really what this music is meant for, you know, is for square dancing, and it's a big time, you know.
I bet some square dances have happened in this very building. This is a great building. We love it.
Yeah, this is the kind of place we like to play in. You know, it's really a treat to get to be here, and so we're really pleased about it. And you know, at the old social dances, there was a lot of different kind of dancing that was done, and you know, not just what we think of as square dances. That's probably the bread and butter of it, but there's a lot of different kind of dances too. And this one we're going to play is a different kind of dance called a schottisch. And it's kind of a neat little deal. I'd do a little bit of a schottisch for you, but I might fall and get hurt or something. And how does it go? That everybody shot it.
I don't even know what key it is.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
All right, we'll try it out. What do you feel like singing?
You could do Down the River.
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't remember where we learned it from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hum it for me a little bit. Is that before we start on?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Tell them about it.
This one's called Down the River. I went down to New Orleans walking all about. Put me in a coffee pot and poured me out the spout.
Down the river, children, down the river, children, down the river, children, I'm going to the ball.
Went to see Miss Susie, she was standing in the hall. Her shoes and stockings in her hand, her feet all over the floor.
Down the river, children, down the river, children, down the river, children, I'm going to the ball.
The old black dog came to crop, he had no limb at all. I made a grab for the raccoon tail and I had a terrible fall.
Down the river, children, down the river, children, down the river, children, I'm going to the ball.
My head fell upon a rock, I saw the stars and moon. The old black dog grabbed me and shook me for a fool.
Down the river, children, down the river, children, down the river, children, I'm going to the ball.
When I go to travel, I travel on the train. And when I go to marry, I marry Liza Jane.
Down the river, children, down the river, children, down the river, children, I'm going to the ball. Thank you. What's next? The set list must have started out its life as a parts list because it's got a VIN. No, it's a bill of sale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I sold my brother a trailer and he wanted a bill of sale, and I guess I forgot to give it to him.
Should we do Last Night While I Lie Sleeping?
Yeah,
And then we'll do the dance thing?
yeah. All right.
All right.
I think we've got a couple more, and then we're going to hand it off to Still on the Hill. And it's always such a treat for us to get to play with them. You know, they're kind of like my other parents. So when I was a little kid, I lived in my grandma's. It was an old rock house with a breezeway in the middle. And my grandma lived on one side, and then there's a breezeway. And then Donna lived on the other side. And it was so fun to go to the other side of the breezeway because there's just musical instruments everywhere. And then Kelly's house was just down the gravel road from there, and he had musical instruments everywhere. And they were so good to me when I was a little kid because I just wanted to take them all down off the wall and mess with them and fool with them. And yeah, it would just spend hours, you know, handing me instruments and here, try this one and this one. And so I really think I wouldn't have been a musician if it hadn't been for their encouragement. So I really Last night while I was sleeping, I had a happy dream. I dreamt that I was lying down by some violet stream with a pretty gal standing for me. She was there to go my bail, and I woke up broken hearted in the cold county jail. Up stepped my sweetheart, $10 in her hand. Said, take this, dear Johnny, it is all that I command. May the heavens guide and protect you wherever you may go, and the devil snatch that jewelry that sent you down below. John Sherman, about 10 o'clock, his pocket full of jail keys, some doors to unlock. Said, cheer you up, my prisoner. Then I thought I heard him say, now you're bound for Nashville to wear that ball and chain. I used to court a fair maid, had a horse and a saddle fine. I used to court a fair maid, and of course I called her mine. I courted her for beauty, but her love took me to hate. And now I'm bound for Nashville to wear that ball and chain. Last night while I was sleeping, I had a happy dream. I dreamed that I was lying down by some violet stream with a pretty gal standing over me. She was there to go my bail, but I woke up broken hearted in the cold county jail. Yeah. Kelly, you want to get up here and play a little with us?
Yeah, Kelly and Donna, come on up. I'm going to do a little bit of jig dancing, and I am by no means a master.
But
I think I got third place a couple times.
no,
but,
she's gotten second place at dance competition.
well, there's probably only 2 people competing.
There might have been 2 contestants at the time.
But I just do a real basic jig dancing, and this is kind of a traditional solo dance. A lot of times people would jig dance within a square dance. And anybody else that wants to come up and join me, feel free. Donna, are you going to play the jawbone? Okay.
Might as well,
if
yeah.
You want to.
The jackassophone.
We're gonna play a deeply obscure, little-known fiddle tune called the Arkansas Traveler. Oh, great! Yeah, might as well have a jig dance. Dance here, there, and everywhere. Okay, here we go. We're gonna bust down on it. It's good to know there's still somewhere left in the country where if you invite people up to jig dance with you, you're going to get a full floor of experienced jig dancers. So that was very cool. Thank you.
Big round of applause for Roy and Anita.
It is such a pleasure and an honor. Thank you, Kathy. It is such a pleasure and honor to get to play with those two. They are just what a gift. What a lovely thing. I've been looking forward to this for a while now.
Me too. I want to say that when this is over, we have been invited to go down to the art gallery. I hear that there's cookies and lemonade.
So, by the way, my name's Kelly and this is Donna, and we're called Still on the Hill. And this is kind of it's fun for us. It's a full circle. We wrote a body of work about the Buffalo River, stories about the Buffalo River. What year was that?
A million years
216, I think.
Yeah.
And it was part of a grant, and it enabled us to play this very room as part of that grant package, and it was delightful, and I know it's going to be delightful again. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of this very charming little community.
We have our low-tech PowerPoint that goes with this, and this is us with Ken Smith.
Yeah.
We had the great opportunity of helping him build some trail a few times, and his book, Buffalo River Country, the first chapter is called From Ponca to Pruitt, and it's very poetic. He has some beautiful, beautiful language in there, so we took lines from that first chapter and wove it into this song.
All right.
What we call From Ponca to Pruitt.
All right, we'll start off with this. My wooden paddle I pushed off the bank from Ponca to Pruitt. We floated that day, and lacework of branches crisscrossed overhead, dropping dogwood blossoms on the riverbed. And a twisted juniper high on a bluff, in a craggy old voice whispered to us, saying, Flow river, across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man. Them low-hanging clouds where they finally disappeared, and droplets of rain listened everywhere while the river journey downstream, whistling azalea, all dressed in green, and a black and orange redstart, oh blessed be, up in a red bud, singing to me, singing Buffalo River, flow river across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man. We floated past a bluff and pillars of stone. We called it the castle, but its real name's unknown. A pinnacle of time, all worn and weathered, like a mighty fortress rising from the river. And high on a dark cliff, gloomy and gray, I swore that I heard an old vulture pray, praying, Buffalo River, flow river across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man. Buffalo River, flow river across this wild land unspoiled by the hand of man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna play my Arkansas on this.
Yeah.
And actually, this is a saw-whet owl. Except Kelly was supposed to saw this because he looks more like a great horned owl. So Kelly should saw this off, and then it really looked like a saw-whet owl. But
That's true. You know, this is I love this concert concept that the university has put together, because it's really, you know, in a way, the way I like to think of the Ozark Highballers and Still on the Hill is two different ways of celebrating the same tradition. And they're both equally valid in my eyes. You know, Roy and Aviva just capture that historical moment and make you feel, they take you back in time. And they do it better than anybody I've ever seen do it. Yeah. And Don and I, we're inspired by that music, but we just can't help but do our newfangled thing, you know, whatever we do. And so what we've done is collected stories and about the Buffalo River in this particular instance, and put them to music and try to keep an eye on the tradition, not drift too far into oblivion, if we're lucky. So. And this is another song that came from the Buffalo River.
From the Upper Richland Creek area, and it's a famous legend about a rooster and some bushwhackers. It's actually a ghost story.
Yeah. Too bad we can't turn down the lights on this one.
In the War of the Rebellion, way, way back when lawlessness swept across the land, those bushwhackers took whatever they wanted. They were cruel and heartless men. Mr. Hanson hid his family way back in the hills where he thought they'd never be found. But his old banty rooster could not help himself, and he crowed just a little too loud. A roving band of bandits heard that fateful sound. They made their way to the hidden homestead, shot the rooster and the menfolk down. the feathers out and cook up a chicken stew. Those bushwhackers ate until they had their fill, and I swear this tale is true. In that lonely holler down round Upper Richmond Creek, hardly anyone passes that way. Not a soul has lived there for 100 years or more. It is haunted, all the old folks say. At times a weary traveler walking down a lonesome road swears by the light of the silvery moon that he hears that old rooster crow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
True story.
True story. As far as we know. Well, you know, we were very fortunate. Recently, we got to spend a whole 10 days at a new artist retreat called Lucky Star Farm over at Rush. Really nice operation going on there. Lovely, and it was very rejuvenating, and it was exciting because we had written a song about Rush, and here we were just up the hill about 3/4 mile from the old ghost town. And if you don't know, Rush was quite a boom town at one time. They discovered zinc carbonate, and so it looked like it was going to be quite a big deal. And people came in in the droves, and the town emerged, and there was hotels, and there was saloons, and all the trappings, but it didn't play out. And very quickly, well, I guess we'll just let the song tell the rest of the story. But
It's called the Morning Star Mine.
oh, yeah, one more change I got to make.
We tune banjos for your listening enjoyment.
All right, here we go. Called the Morning Star Mine. Yeah. On the banks of Rush Creek, zinc was discovered somewhere around 1889. Town started booming, prospering and blooming when they opened that Morning Star Mine. One day the miners pried from the mountains a nugget of pure zinc carbonite. Over 12,000 pounds, where they called it the jumbo, and its value was quickly recognized. To a White River flatboat, by railroad to the World's Fair. Up in Chicago, where it won a gold medal, and the speculators started moving there. Grapevine, brambles, time rearranges, empires rise, and everything changes. Fancy hotel and a wild saloon where a rinky-tink piano player played. The miners turned to whiskey when the tunnels proved empty as the buckets they carried home each day. When the World War ended, the mines all folded like a gambler laying down his hand. The hotel was boarded and everything deserted. It was over just as quick as it began. Grapevine, brambles, time rearranges, empires rise, and everything changes. 1, 2, 3. What's left of that ghost town is now withering away, like time turning rocks into sand. Folks moved on when the zinc was all gone, but the real treasure slipped right through their hands. Yeah, a man had his turn, and he took what he wanted, then vanished out of sight and out of mind. Well, that beautiful valley, well, she's taking it back, one board and one brick at a time. Grapevine brambles, time rearranges, empires fall, and everything changes, and everything changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to multitask on this one. And I need your help. Okay. We asked Joe Neal, who's the premier birder in our state, one of the premier birders, what birds might be struggling along the Buffalo River. And he said the Louisiana water thrush, Chuck-Will's widow, cerulean warbler, and the wood thrush.
And it's important to mention as well that, while those birds are struggling, in other words, their numbers are decreasing, the Buffalo River is one of the best places you can go to find those birds.
Yeah, it's a corridor of
They're disappearing
safety.
throughout the region, but because the Buffalo River has been preserved and is stable, you can, if you want to see a cerulean warbler, that's an excellent place to start.
Yeah.
It's not, so.
And we have images of the birds we're talking about that are images by John James Audubon, but we need your help. And we have this sign that says, whoa, 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 like we shouldn't do anything to hurt the birds. And then, no, we're sad that we're hurting the birds. And then, whoa, stop doing anything that hurts the birds.
That's right.
And I'm going to play the bell.
and we need to-
pat my head and rub my belly at the same time.
That's right. You just want, you wait, she'll do it. Actually, we need everybody's help because it's a nice thing along, but I kind of have to apologize in advance for Donna, at least, for having written a song that is in a very remote key for the males in general. You'll see for yourself. I have to kind of jump an octave in the middle of it, just because I can't get that high. But we'll try. We'll try to keep up. So you'll sing with me. Donna's going to lead us. So.
I'll go. Whoa, I'll go. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then all together we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I like the,
That was
Mary, that was
awesome.
excellent. That would work too.
That was great. Okay.
We got some characters in this room here we got to be careful about. I hope we don't have to throw anybody out before this is over. So that sounds pretty good. Good first start. You'll get a few chances at this. So. All right, here we go. You ready? 2, 3.
Louisiana water thrush bobbing his behind. Down around Eden Falls searching for a mayfly. If there ain't no mayflies there, what's he gonna eat? Water thrush ain't sticking around unless the river's clean. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Chuck Will's widow, you used to call your name. As the evening shadows fell on rustling River Cane, kinda like a silent spring since Chuck Will's been gone. River loves a lullaby he sang as night came on. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Cerulean warbler, little one with feathers of sky blue. All along the Buffalo, your numbers now are few. Every year you winter where
through our veins. The trees, they are our lungs. Everything depends on everything beneath the sun.
Let us not unravel the web of life that has been spun. Oh, he does a great impression of a wood thrush.
Not this.
No, he does it really good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She thinks so. Well, it's not really fair, I must say, because, the wood thrush has 2 vocal boxes, and I only have 1. So does that seem fair to me? And besides that, the wood thrush's song has a big range. It starts really low, and then it just keeps going up, and it goes clear out of our hearing range, which is really sad, because that's the part I've got perfected. I've got that down. But you'll just have to trust me. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give it a shot here.
Good job. Wood thrush wakes the sleeping woods at the break of dawn. Never has there ever been a sweeter sounding song, but this spring he did not sing, he uttered not a word. Through the hills and hollers, all that could be heard was whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey, you didn't rub your belly and pat your head.
Oh, next time. We have about 3 more songs we're gonna do. How many of you ever canoed down the Buffalo? Of course. Well, you may have passed a place called Bee Bluff, B-E-E, Bee Bluff, and there was a story about Bee Bluff that we got out of Ken Smith's book, that some young boys back in the early 1900s wanted to get some honey at the top of this bluff, 80 million stories tall.
80 feet.
80 feet. 80 feet.
80 feet. But can you imagine making a ladder out of sticks and just lashing it together 80 feet long and climbing up it and trusting? I mean, that's daunting.
So they wanted to get that honey, and this is the story. But we found out that we actually told it a little wrong. We got it, so at the end we'll tell you what really happened.
We actually were, one of the best things about doing this project was playing all around the Buffalo, and occasionally we'd do a show, and somebody would come up afterward and said, "Hey, that was my great-great-grandfather you just sang about,"
Yeah.
And that happened when we were playing over in Ponca.
Is that person in the room?
Concerning this song.
That told us the real story?
Yeah.
So this is our version of Bee Bluff.
In the early 1900s near Ponca, Arkansas, 2 young boys built a ladder over 80 feet tall, placed it up against the bluff, climbed up to the crevice where the bees buzzed. Now bees have lived inside that cliff for many generations, and folks, they came from miles around, great anticipation of filling up their pantries, mason jars full of wild honey. Rags with sulfur drove the bees away. With buckets in hand, folks returned the next day. But the crevice was so small, but lo and behold, there were no getting to that treasure trove. starts to plan. They brought along an auger and they drilled a hole by hand into solid rock, filled it with a stick of dynamite. Carefully they lit the rick and prayed they'd make it down. That rickety old ladder brought them safely to the ground. Rocks started flying and a hook of the mountainside broke open. Golden and honey poured down like rain. 400 pounds, I've heard folks say. But the bees are gone, they've flown away. But the name Bee Bluff remains today. The name Bee Bluff remains. Thank you.
So the real story is that the boys blew that up with dynamite, and the honey didn't actually pour down the mountain. They gathered it in buckets, and apparently the town folks all took the honey away, and the boys never got any. No fair.
Figure. That already got the cape
You
on
got
there.
the cape on for me?
So, you know, we
Oh, I gotta change my PowerPoint.
maybe one of the most famous stories that the whole during the battle for the buffalo. Of course, I was a kid. I was probably 8 years old when all this was going on,
Randy Henderson.
and people were trying to decide whether they were either going to dam the buffalo with 2 dams and turn it into reservoirs, or as it became a park 50 years ago. And there was some collateral damage, as we all know, in the process. And that part is sad and difficult, and we have to contend with it. And that is such as Granny Henderson, who lived along the river her whole life and raised family and was able to take care of herself in her later years, and she was relocated. And
That photo was in National Geographic back in the 70s. We had to get special permission to use it. And I want to be just like her when I grow up. But in this song I wrote, I kind of pretend that I am Granny Henderson telling you my story.
anybody been to the cabin? Yeah.
One of our favorite memories, we were playing a concert at the Walton Arts Center, and we were doing this show. And apparently a young girl about 10 years old, we had played this at her school, and her grandmother took her to go see Granny's cabin, and they took a picture of her in the window. And so the grandma and the little girl came to our concert, and they had the big screen up above, and they didn't tell her, but before we played the song, they flashed that picture of her in Granny's cabin. So don't worry about it.
No, I'm just going to get a little closer.
They don't need to hear me.
That didn't look very good, but there we It's not very close. Here we go.
Whatever.
We have the technology. I get my claws on. Hang on here.
We have this, and we're going to do one more. We had turned the air blower off because it was super loud, so it's warming up a bit. But
We're lucky it's only 70 degrees today. That's
this is the coolest town in Arkansas.
That's right.
I mean, go figure.
All right. Granny Henderson. Here you go.
Move it just-
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Okay, we're ready. When the day is breaking through, there is so much work to do. Draw the water from the well, careful that a drop don't spill. Feed the chickens, milk the cow. Too busy to be lonely now. My husband's gone. Let the river roll on. chases the snakes away. With him around, I ain't afraid. Pappy's gun, it still can shoot. Squirrel and possum, deer and coon. This land provides me all my needs. Till the soil and pull the weeds. Work's never done. Let the river roll on.
I've got a washboard made of glass. On it I scrub my finest threads. I've got a washboard made of tin. I scrub my dirty clothes on it. If I hang my stockings on the line, they'll be dry by supper time.
I make a tonic every spring. Sassafras, roots and leaves. Ginseng growing here and there has helped me live these 80 years. Chopping wood with an axe made me strong as any man. When day is done, let the river roll on.
So don't you try to take my land, bury me right where I stand, until I am dead and gone. Let these mountains sing my song, the river's running through my veins. This is where I must remain.
My name is Granny Henderson. Every stranger is a friend. These hills and hollers brought me life. I've been a mother, been a wife. Sneed Creek has been my home. Never have I cared to roam. Wait till I'm gone. Let the river roll on. When I am gone, let the river roll on.
Well, they moved her up the hill, there she spent her final hour. But she didn't last so long, we should have known. You can't transplant a wildwood flower.
Thank you. Oh, this has been such a delight.
That's kind of a bittersweet song, but our last song I think will kind of straighten it back out, hopefully. But there's just so many people to thank for this. You know, Bob Cochran and Joshua and everybody that, of course, Jeannie Moore. I hope you all have Jeannie Moore's book. She's got a wonderful book about the history of Gilbert. There's a copy of it right there. And
Very cool.
I'm not sure where they can be purchased in this town. Does anybody know? Through Jeannie, there you go.
Yeah.
Through Jeannie. It's an invaluable book. It's very well documented, the history of Gilbert with lots and lots of photographs. Very lovely thing to see somebody paying so much attention. Of course, she's got deep roots here. And we thank you all for being here today.
Let's have another big round of applause for Roy and Aviva. And Ada.
Yep. Nice to drag them out of their semi-retirement now. Hopefully that won't last too long. We'll see. And Ada, she'll probably be playing the fiddle before long. Yeah, that was a lovely thing to get to play with them. And thanks to the university, of course, for making this possible.
Woo, yeah.
And Trey and Nick for doing the video. Thank you, guys. Really. So, you know, as far as we did mention a little bit about the CDs, literally, you know, because the CD thing is collapsing around us, what we decided to do today is just say, help yourself, pay what you feel like it's worth to you.
What you can
It could be
afford.
$5, it could be $5,000.
We don't care. We've got closets full. So.
And we both got, just make change in the box. You know, you'll see, it's self-explanatory. We'd love for you to take us home with it. We have the whole album with all these songs called Still a River.
And then head down to the art gallery and check it out and get some lemonade and cookies. And
By the way, you know that our album "Still the River" was made possible originally by the community at large, but there were two organizations primarily that funded us, and that was the Buffalo River Watershed Alliance and the Ozark Society.
And friends.
And friends. It was a lot. That was a lovely thing. We appreciate that. So when we were at Rush doing our little artist retreat, what a strange feeling. You got 10 days to make some art. Tell me when you're done.
He did it.
Second day I was there, a song popped out, and because I was just contemplating 50 years of the river, and I was contemplating all the complexity of the issue, the fact that it's wonderful news, but there was also collateral damage, as we mentioned, with people like Granny Henderson, not just Granny, a lot of folks that had their lives turned upside down by the change. And so I felt like I needed to include all that, if I could, in a song. And so this is what came out, and we'll finish with this.
And we're gonna see if there's sing-along-ablishness, sing-along-able. We're gonna see if y'all can sing along at the end. We've never tried that, so we'll see.
And we know so many of you, but we'd like to meet anybody else and say hello to us afterwards, and Roy Viva, and then head on over to the gift shop over where she's going to be serving lemonade, I believe. Is that I heard?
And cookies.
And cookies. So she's
Right up the road, yeah.
She is very excited about y'all making a visit over there. And all right.
All right.
I
Thank
got-
you, everybody.
We'll leave you with this. Thank you. Okay. All right. This is called Our First Historic River. It's our nation's first river, and one mistake if we listen to the government and built another lake. If we'd flooded that valley to be submerged forevermore, I would never have been here, but sitting by the shore. From the headwaters of Ponca clear to 7 Mile Bend, stand an epic row of bluff lines that seem never end. And there's towering beech trees never touched by a chainsaw, and the meddlings of mankind, it will not be its downfall. And I'm still ever grateful that it all came to be, that there's still one river that will always be free. Well, I know there's hard feelings, and perhaps rightly so, for the folks living down there where they're told they had to go, and the bureaucrats moved in with all them new rules to follow. Well, it can't have been easy, what a bitter pill to swallow. While some have forgiven, others say that they won't. Seems you're damned if you do, seems you're damned if you don't. But as time heals all things for our sons and our daughters, we can all be thankful that it's not all underwater. Every once in a while seems we might get things right and preserved in that river, but it's worth all the fight. And I'm still ever thankful that it all came to be, that there's still one river that will